Snack lovers, have we got news for you. Taco-flavored Doritos are even better than before. Announcing a spicy new taste in taco-flavored Doritos brand tortilla chips. So when you want a snack that's really
Spicy!
try taco-flavored Doritos, now with a spicy new taste.
You're not crazy for noticing that some of the foods that we grew up with just don't taste the same anymore. Welcome back to the Great Food Downgrade, where we dig into why your favorite foods made by brands you thought you could trust taste worse and worse as the years go by, due to companies valuing profits over quality. From humble beginnings in a California theme park to the global snack aisle, Doritos have come a long way. They're known for their bold flavors, outrageous marketing, and that unforgettable crunch. But lately, fans have noticed something's different, a little off. If you've ever thought, hey, Doritos just don't taste like they used to, well, you're not alone. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the flavorful history of Doritos, exploring their rise to fame and uncovering the specific ingredients and recipe changes that may explain why your favorite chip just doesn't hit the same anymore. The story of Doritos kicks off in the early 1960s at Disneyland, of all places. Back then, there was a Mexican-themed restaurant in the park called Casa de Fritos. It was supplied by a company named Alex Foods. One day, in a moment of practical creativity, leftover tortillas were cut into triangles, fried, and seasoned to avoid food waste. These crunchy chips were served to guests, and they loved them. This small experiment caught the attention of Frito-Lay, which was already a powerhouse in the snack industry. Seeing potential in this new snack idea, they bought the concept and launched Doritos in 1966. The very first flavor? Toasted corn. That's right. No cheese dust, no spices, just crunchy, salted corn chips. Plain corn chips weren't enough to dominate the market. So in 1967, Doritos introduced taco flavor. Just 5 years later, in 1972, they rolled out the now iconic nacho cheese flavor. This cheesy, tangy blend quickly became a snack time favorite and has been essential to the brand ever since. During the 70s and 80s, Doritos took off with clever marketing and a growing variety of flavors. They quickly became a household staple. But what many don't realize is that Doritos have been changing, sometimes subtly, sometimes drastically, for decades. Let's take a look at some of the major turning points. In 1994, Doritos underwent one of the biggest transformations ever. Frito-Lay invested a whopping $50 million into what they called a complete redesign of the chip. The changes? Each chip was made 20% larger, 15% thinner. The corners were rounded to reduce breakage, and most importantly, more seasoning was added to every chip. This just wasn't about flavor. It was about texture, appearance, and making the chips look and feel more like restaurant-style tortilla chips. The goal was to elevate Doritos from junk food to a more sophisticated snack experience without losing the boldness fans loved. Fast forward to 2002, and the health food movement was gaining serious traction. People were paying closer attention to labels. That year, Frito-Lay removed the trans fats from all Dorito varieties, well ahead of the U.S. regulations requiring trans fat labeling in 2006. This move was widely praised, but it came at a cost. Removing trans fats required reformulating the oils used in production, which likely altered both texture and flavor in subtle ways. That rich, satisfying mouthfeel you might remember from the 90s, it might not be your memory playing tricks on you. It might be the fat profile that's changed. In 2006, facing a dip in sales, Frito-Lay decided it was time to modernize. This marked what they called the most significant rebranding in Doritos' 38-year history. The effort included new logo and packaging, a flood of new flavor launches, bilingual advertising to reach Latino markets, and a more youthful, rebellious brand identity. Flavor innovation became a huge focus during this time. We started seeing bold, sometimes bizarre combinations like black pepper jack, pizza supreme, and even X13D. This explosion of new tastes came even more changes to the base recipe, seasoning blends, and ingredient sources. Then came 2015. Doritos launched a limited edition version called Rainbow Doritos. It was a part of a campaign supporting LGBTQ youth through the It Gets Better project. While there wasn't a recipe change per se, it demonstrated how the brand was willing to experiment and push boundaries, not just with flavor, but with purpose. But around this time, longtime fans started noticing something strange. The chips tasted different. Not just the wild new flavors, but even the classics. Nacho cheese just didn't hit the same. Cool Ranch wasn't as tangy. What happened? This is where things get technical. Let's break it down. Original nacho cheese Doritos in the 1970s and 80s contained ingredients like cheddar cheese, Romano cheese, whey, and flavor enhancers such as monosodium glutamate, MSG. They also used partially hydrogenated oils, which created a richer flavor and a crunch. In recent years, many of these ingredients have been either replaced or reduced. Here's what changed. MSG has been reduced or removed in many regional markets due to consumer demands, despite being a proven flavor enhancer. The oils have shifted to non-hydrogenated vegetable oils, reducing trans fat, but also affecting mouthfeel. The cheese powders now include natural flavors and enzyme modified cheese, which are less intense than the original blends. Artificial food coloring like yellow 6 and red number 40 are being phased out or swapped in some areas, impacting both appearance and perceived flavor. According to Frito-Lay, these adjustments were made in response to changing health trends and food regulations. However, fans argue that the chips now have a blander taste and a lighter, more powdery texture. Let's quickly take a look at some of the things people had to say about the way that Doritos taste now. This Reddit user said, within the past 3 months, I've bought 3 bags of nacho cheese flavor from different stores, and I can't stomach more than a handful of pieces. It's like a stale industrial taste. They taste horrible. What gives? Is it all in my head? I had to rush to Reddit for an answer. Now keep in mind, this Reddit post was made 3 years ago. This person got a bunch of replies from people that feel the same exact way. One person replied and said, they've been like this for a month or 2 now. I stopped buying spicy nacho, and now I've stopped buying regular nacho cheese too. It's like they're super starchy. I'm thinking they're just using a lot less Dorito dust, so we're tasting the chip itself instead of the intended flavor. Figured I'd try again later once all these supply issues let up. I'm hoping it's just a temporary thing. The original poster came back and said my bag was almost $5. Hope this is only temporary because you can't justify this when the supply chain issues are over. I might have to buy the off-brand Doritos. To which someone replied, supply chain is the new code word for greed. The only way to fix this is to stop purchasing. I have to say that I agree with the last poster. The only way to stop these companies from taking advantage of consumers is to stop buying the product. Here's a different post that I found from Reddit talking about the same sentiments towards Doritos now. This person said, I bought a bag in Florida December of 2022. I kept eating them, but something just didn't taste right. Doesn't taste like how they used to, like how I remember them. I felt like some old man trying to remember something good from my childhood. Dang it, these chips suck now. They just have this half cheesy tastelessness to them, and the chips feel about 15% thinner and more fragile. They don't have the strength like they used to. I don't think I'm imagining things. As you can see, someone replied right under the post and said, you're not imagining things. I feel the same way. Another often overlooked factor, where your Doritos are made. As the brand globalized, production expanded to factories across North America, Europe, and Asia. While the recipe is generally consistent, small differences in cornmeal, oil, and even air humidity can change how chips turn out. Additionally, The amount of seasoning on each chip is closely controlled to meet cost targets. You might remember bags from the 90s that seemed like they were absolutely drenched in cheese dust. Now today's chips are noticeably less coated. I bought a bag the other day and I had barely any flavoring on any of the chips. They tasted almost plain. This isn't your imagination, it's a strategic move to reduce costs while maintaining profit margins. Now, we have to admit that nostalgia can play a role in these types of things. Human taste perception changes with age. Spices that thrilled us at the age of 12 might feel mild at 30. But what we can all agree on is that nostalgic tastes work from memory. So we remember how something tasted, and even if it's changed, we can understand that something is different. Take your mom's favorite baked cookies, for example. If it's an old recipe from your mom, you remember the taste even as an adult. And when you replicate that recipe, you expect it to taste the same. That being said, when you combine nostalgia with real, measurable changes in ingredients and seasoning and manufacturing, well, it's no surprise that Doritos today just don't taste how they did when we grew up. Love them or not, Doritos remain one of the most iconic, evolving snacks in modern history. Let us know what you think in the comments about the changing taste of Doritos. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Great Food Downgrade. Catch you next time.